Roll call, sir.
Commissioner Buckley.
Here.
Commissioner Gallagher.
Here.
Commissioner Cater.
Here.
Quorum present for the tax
Okay,
hearing.
we'll move directly into a tax levy, and the regular meeting will be after this levy hearing is finalized. So, and I only had time to put up for St. Francis County's amounts, but how do you want to present this, sir?
Let me go over it briefly. We just fill in the forms, state census, the money, and what this does is we have an authorized rate from last year, 31 cents, .3148. So that's the current rate you start off of, and then you take the sales tax and you back it off the way it is. Now, that's contrary to the road and bridge, because there's a set rate. They do not get a rollback. So theirs is going to be at, what it's always at .2418. I want to point out that's less than 1% of the school's taxes. So the taxes the county get for our operation is less than 1%, and it's about less than 10% of the community colleges, what they get. We are
And the
set.
school districts are all different.
They're all different
So-
depending on what district you're in
Right.
on that, but these are set, and then our current tax rate to be levied is .0218, so 2 cents plus the fractional 1/8.
So what you're saying is that the sales tax has moved that tax back from 31 cents to 2 cents,
Correct.
approximately. Okay.
So we're if you notice, the upper is .31, not point, and then we're at .02. So the there's really, I don't know if you have any flexibility in it or not, but every year we just plug in the numbers and that tells us what our rate is. It's going to be dropping this year.
Well, it's going in the consumer's direction,
Yeah.
so we're happy with that. Okay, we will not decide on that now. This is a hearing to present the numbers.
Right, so you have to ask if people have questions, and then we can close the hearing and then go into the meeting.
Yes. Does anyone have any questions about this? About how it's, what does that mean, you know?
What's this thing tell us?
I wish the people that come here for the equalization would question us, because they complain about their taxes. In reality, they vote for the tax increases, which is fine for the schools or the community college, but then they come in here and complain about the rates, and we have to tell them ours is less than 2% of the.
Generally, there were no changes in senior, developmentally disabled.
Correct.
Those are all pretty well standardized, because they're not
Yes,
subject to
we
rollback.
said- That's exactly right. We
They
said
are
that
subject
this
to
year.
increased assessment.
Correct.
Okay.
And all of our school districts the same way. When they get more assessed value, it's just like by our elections office. You don't think that's much there. There's duplexes being built right there, and they've got 3 of them up for them. Well, once those 4 get completed, that'd be over $2 million worth of
Yeah.
buildings right there, which is addition than they had from last year, and it's addition that we had. That's why our revenue, even though the rate drops, usually stays fairly around this.
And that's all Hancock Amendment related.
As we wrote it's my understanding, as we wrote our request to the people when we asked for the bond issue years ago, that was what.
Okay,
I might
yeah,
also point out that when you get your tax bill, courtesy of our collector, the 1st of October, I guess.
nope, it's the day after the election.
It's in November.
Good.
Somewhere around
That we also should point out the fact that there are city bond issues that are passed, which increases your tax rate too. So when we have a situation where somebody will question our taxes here in the county, as you just pointed out, Mr. Clerk, less than a penny actually goes to this area or to our county government, whereas city taxes, which if there's a bond issue for, say, I don't know, a swimming pool or for a park or something like that, that's what indeed raises your taxes in addition to your school taxes.
And that's totally fine if the people voted on it.
Exactly right.
But the people that didn't vote for it need to understand we live in a democracy, and if they wanted to get out and campaign against that, they had that ability to do so.
I've
We
always
have
been-
raised ours.
I've always been kind of bothered about the no tax increase bond issue. What that does is just extend that tax for another 30 years. If you said no on that, you would drop your taxes.
Yes.
Something that people don't realize.
And they always run those on an April ballot where only 6% of people
Yeah.
participate. So that's an interesting, because I saw a very elaborate piece put out on one of the school districts just 2 weeks ago, and I would assume that they're going to have a bond issue in April.
Yeah, it was expensive, elaborate.
It's expensive, elaborate, and it would have been illegal if they would have already declared they were going to put it on the ballot and then put that out. That would-
I got 2 or 3 copies of that.
Well, don't forget, in a couple years or so,
About 5 years.
about 5 years, ours comes to sunset, and as you see what we get to help do the roads, I'm telling you what, I drive these roads all the time, and I drive all around the county quite a bit, in other counties, not to say anything bad about our friends from other areas, but our roads are premier compared to what you have to drive on in other counties. So what they do with this money and how they make it stretch,
Yeah.
thank you guys.
And cutting that would be painful.
It's very painful, so we will have to do something
Prior
in the
to
near
that.
future to get that no tax increase.
Well, and then
To keep
Dave
that,
made, yeah,
to keep
Dave
what we
made a
got.
point.
keep what we have.
Just to keep
Yeah.
what we have. And
We were talking about that this morning, and one of the big issues coming up is to try to find right now more money for that, because we know Hillsborough Road is probably one of the most traveled. I know we've got a few roads around here that it's a must, we have to fix, and we've got to somewhere try to find something in the future to add to that.
For some major
Because
projects.
we do not have the money to do what we need to do on these roads.
It's hard to give up a year's worth of asphalt maintenance
Yeah.
to do a mile and a half of road.
Yeah.
That's one
You do that
of our
we won't
biggest
be able to do anything
issues,
for that whole.
That's correct. And that's what we were talking to
I
the
didn't mean
commissioner
to
about
go
this
down.
morning is
roads.
we've got to find a way to supplement that budget.
So I'm suggesting the tax rate be 0.0218.
Okay, that is the end of the tax levy hearing. We will act on that coming up soon. Okay,
Motion to close.
thank you. Yeah, we do need a
Motion to
motion to
close.
close the hearing. Second?
Second.
All in favor of closing the hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, sir.
Opening this, you want roll call?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Buckley?
Here.
Commissioner Gallagher?
Here.
Commissioner Cater? There
Here.
is a quorum present.
Okay, please stand for the pledge and the invocation. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, please be with us. Go out throughout the day, do the best we can for the county, make the best decisions that we can to get this county moving forward, or to continue moving forward. Dear Lord, please be with us. Be with those that need you, that just strengthen, guiding them. And dear Lord, please keep them close, the ones that, especially the ones that we know that work directly with us, and be with their families and just help ease their pain. Dear Lord, I ask this in your Son Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Thank you.
Good to see you, folks.
Good to be here tomorrow was.
Okay, the consent agenda is merely the minutes of last week's regular meeting.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, now we need to act on approving that tax levy we just had a hearing on.
For clarification, I would have you entertain a motion to set the rate for the road and bridge at 0.2418, for the seniors at 0.0473, and for the general purpose fund 0.0218.
General purpose,
That's the.
That's the one you just debated.
okay. Oh, yeah, okay.
The other two,
General
the
revenue.
other two are
I say general revenue, but okay, same thing, okay.
All right, I make a motion that we approve a tax levy for road and bridge 0.2418 for the senior, .0473, and the general purpose, .0218.
I'll second.
Questions? All in favor of approving that tax levy, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Okay, bid openings, scanning project recorder. Mr. Jay, you have anything you want to comment about that?
No, but I think this finishes up our marriage books, though, for that whole section.
Can you rephrase finishing up our marriage books?
Yeah, yeah.
It divorces you from that project, right?
And even if you're in there twice, it's okay.
What's that?
It's my second marriage, sorry, dude.
All right, we have one bid. So I'm assuming that this is the company that you usually use.
Who's it from?
Well, it keeps saying St. Francis County, Missouri, St. Francis County, Missouri, St. Francis. Media Conversion.
Yeah, we'd like to take a look at it, maybe.
Yeah. Fiddler
Rest of the
Technologies,
program.
finally is their name.
I was thinking.
Is that
Okay.
it, Fiddler, is it?
Right.
Okay, you got figure on action on that next week?
Can I look at it and
Sure.
accept it?
Take it to your seat and look it over?
Later in the meeting
We
or
can,
something?
yeah, we can come back to it later in the agenda. Bring us back up to amounts.
But you will pay attention to the rest of the meeting?
I'll try.
Okay.
There will be a quiz.
We have
Don't worry,
answers.
It'll be graded on a curve.
And if you get a chance, turn your phones off too.
Or sign.
Okay. Next item would be award bids for the exterior doors. And there's the amount on the screen. And, motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the award bid for the exterior doors for the Weber facility for $37,800, and that would be for 8 doors installed.
Second.
And I'll second that.
You see that lower picture of the nice clean door? That's one this company's already replaced. They replaced 3 of the 11 doors in the building. And you see the upper picture shows what needs to be replaced. So that's the point on that. Any questions? Brian, do you have any idea on the timing on this?
Several weeks, 8 or 9 weeks to get the door
Yeah.
when he came and measured,
So you're talking Christmas?
probably.
Yeah. Okay.
Merry Christmas.
Brian, is that door aluminum?
All over
The new ones.
Yeah, we won't have this problem
Won't
again.
have it again.
Okay. All right. Did I get motions? Yeah, I got that. Any other questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Permission to enter into design contract with Cochrane. And this is based, contingent on getting the grant. But we need to have permission should that grant come through. Any idea when we'll know about the grant?
I think it's mid to late September is their final ruling
Okay.
on it.
So we can-
Because it opens back up again in December for the next round.
We can have the trigger pulled though and ready to go.
Right.
Okay.
The contract with Cochrane, the design is $56,219, and the construction testing phase is $56,000 also.
So you're gonna have a motion contingent upon the receipt.
Contingent upon receiving the RTP grant, which is.
Okay.
I don't know if that's on or
Okay.
And do we need the price in there? Just,
So what was that dollar amount again?
sorry, Mike, I didn't write it down either.
I believe you guys were emailed a copy of.
Next 5 items gonna be the Owl Creek Park Show.
We were, and I forgot to make a copy of that, Mike.
So the design and engineering fee is $56,219. The construction, inspection, and testing phase will be $50,597.
Okay, and this is the trails,
This is for phase 2 trail.
phase 2 trails.
And it's so, we're getting this permission now contingent upon receiving the grant. And if you approve it, that way we'll be able to tell Cochrane right away you can start the design
Close the
on
weather.
it. Because we can't start the design and have have it paid for by the grant if we start the design beforehand.
Right.
So we have to wait till we get the grant.
Right.
Now,
We've
will-
seen that
Will the
before.
grant pay for this whole project?
The grant will not. The RTP, I think that one was the 75% up to 75.
And they're gonna pay 250,000 of it, and then we have to cover the rest.
Okay, so you're wanting a motion that says what that amount is with the balance
Well,
paid out of general fund? We have to say,
Yeah.
I think
Is
we
that okay?
already had the approval for the grant and for phase.
yeah, you said you were gonna apply for it, and you were willing to match it, you just need to be able to pay
Balance.
for these guys, where's that's gonna be paid out?
Right.
General fund grant, the balance with.
General fund, okay.
Motion.
Okay, ready?
Make a motion that we give permission to enter into the design contract contingent upon receiving the RTP grant, and which is $56,219 for testing, or sorry, for design, build, and then testing at $50,597, and then the balance to be paid out of the general fund.
I'll second that.
Questions? All in favor of this designing contract, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Okay, another item is for boat ramp and accessible fishing pier. Mike, want to talk about that?
Yes, we had to make a few changes to the contract on this one, and Concrete was unable to get it back to us in time, so I would like to put this off.
Table this
Would you
item.
like to table it?
Okay,
So you're gonna want that on next week?
Next week.
thank you. Okay, now this is budget only, not going to hire somebody. But looking ahead at the possible need for a full-time, wait a minute. Yeah. Employee out there to do the cleanup and do the attending of it. And so we want to just put this on the budget in case we decide to do this. It is not going out and hiring somebody. This is budgeting for that. Motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve permission to add to the budget for 2025 a full-time park maintenance employee.
Second.
I'll second.
Question? Again, it's for budgeting purposes only.
And these next three, this item, the next item, and the following will all kind of run together, and by our second one from now, it will be the tie-in for this one.
Okay, all in favor of the budgetary item, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And to add to the budget, for, this is pretty important, to remove those invasive species. Talking primarily cedar.
Cedar, autumn olive, and honeysuckle bush, along with multiflora rose.
Mike, would you tell them probably in the existence what we have, that we might want to explain what's going on here so they don't really, this is for eradication of that, and we will be bidding on it, and I'm gonna let him tell you about it.
The Department of Natural Resources will be soliciting bids for invasive species removal, I think later this week or early next week. And they asked us to bid on it, to do it in-house. So we will submit a bid to Missouri Department of Natural Resources to eradicate these invasive species. And they have a fund that was already set up for it, just for this project. So the previous employee, full-time maintenance employee, would be working towards that, and as well as the seasonal employee. And this is contingent upon us getting, and like Harold said, it's not like we're gonna go hire someone tomorrow or even this year. This is just provisional so that we're prepared for 2025 in case we do get the bid for that.
And our acreage is going to grow over time, so we need to think about that too.
Yeah, and as like Mike said, the autumn olive, the cedars, I think there's a percentage of the cedars. I mean, this is a lot of work. Large area of work, cedars, and then what they do, they plant that back in natural grasses and hardwoods. And this kind of ties into really the future of like the DN, I mean, the state will be helping us with
I was
this.
gonna say, they're gonna fund it.
Yes. And I mean,
It's
it's
part of
just,
their
yeah.
restoration project for the cleanup site.
Again, this is adding to the budget only. Any other questions?
So should this say contingent upon receiving the funds?
I don't know if it's important to say it, but it is contingent
Yeah.
upon.
But this would also give you the,
But since it's.
permission to hire a person if we needed to next year for even seasonal help.
That stuff's gotta come out anyway.
And there's a lot of work's gonna happen when, they're doing something, or we start taking over, you know, the growth that's, you know, that you've already prepared for.
And then once, say, the end of September, October, where the people are out walking, they'll be able to walk these trails. They'll be able to get more understanding of what it's about.
The biggest thing is we can't wait until it's open in mid-September to ask for this, because this is the last day that payroll changes can be asked for the 2025 budget.
We're just really prepping for the future, because it's like we got phase 2, you know, phase 3, we even got a phase 4. This is kind of continuation. We'll be ready for it.
And when you're walking that trail and the cedar's been cut out, you can see back through the woods better. It's just gonna be better. Okay, all in favor? Yes.
We got a motion. Gotta make a motion.
Okay.
And if you want it,
I'll make a motion that we approve permission to add to the 2025 budget a seasonal part-time employee for removal of invasive species and plant growth
Okay,
at Owl Creek Park.
any other questions?
I second that.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Mike, you're still up.
It looks like this will not be needed because Bridget Neighbor informed me this morning that we are already signed up for Missouri Buys. And this is the system similar to like Sam Gov, that you needed to be in their system to be able to bid on the
Okay.
invasive species.
Mike, tell them in the future what you're planning on, just some equipment that you're looking at.
For the.
That you were thinking about buying, what we need.
Budget. We were looking for, probably a single axle dump truck, a skid steer attachment, brush, like a street sweeper type brush for the asphalt trails, a grapple attachment, and a bush hog
That'd give everybody
So
an
Bruce hog
idea.
for the skid steer?
for the tractor.
I mean, that just gives, it's just what we're gonna need for, to keep the park up.
And 3 of those items would be used for the invasive species removal, starting off.
I'm sorry, folks, I am better.
I mean, that gives you an idea. It's not like we're this is stuff we'll be using in the future.
Anyway, we could maybe take one of the road and bridges older trucks and use that, or,
Possibly if they had something,
you know,
a single axle.
they
Well,
don't
we-
wear it out completely.
We did have one, but it was pretty far gone.
That one was pretty far gone.
Yeah.
For 25, we do not have any single axle dump trucks budgeted.
Somebody could watch for though.
Yeah, we don't need anything fancy, we just need something that runs and dumps. It
Yeah, you don't have to go too
Yeah.
far.
Yeah,
Something that runs and dumps.
If we ever need gravel or rock, Road and Bridge always hauls for us.
Yeah, we can even find something, I mean, it'll basically be used within the park.
Yeah.
I mean-
Yes, it'll stay within the
Yeah.
park ground.
Okay, well, it's a thought. Okay, now I have motions.
So we don't need anything
We
for
don't
this
need
one?
anything on this one.
Okay.
so.
Just cancel this one then.
Yes.
All right.
I think
Mike, I
he's
think you're done. I
Thank you.
appreciate you.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay, Kevin, your turn. Sole source provider for election supplies.
Yes, we do this every election. Henry Atkins Company is our sole source provider. I got a letter from them last night because they're the ones that have the machines. They program the machines. They send us a test deck to run through the machines to make sure they're operating. And they print the absentees and the ballots. And unfortunately on this one, we have to print them for every person that's registered. I can't run out of ballots, so, even though we know that 100% of our people, this last time was only 27%, and we bought for 60%, we have to spend $16,645 of this 27,000 in printing costs.
Okay.
So it's $27,940 is for the bid for that.
Well-
And that counts $27,940, and that counts them sending a representative down the day of the election. She came down, for example, in August, had to be sent out a couple places and fix some problems and troubleshoot. And then at the end, when the one precinct couldn't close the machine, she had to troubleshoot that and get it closed so we could get the results. I know they've done this for a long time, but it's good to have somebody there that can troubleshoot 20-something machines we have out there to make sure that there's no problem.
So I'll make a motion that we, as sole source provider, purchase for election supplies through Atkins Sons for $27,940 for the supplies.
Second.
I'll second.
Question. You know, I'm hoping to work again at the election polls, and as much in honor of Bob, I did enjoy it, but Bob took that to heart.
Yeah.
So,
He ran our user supervisor over at one of the precincts and did it for years, and we appreciate it. We still have opportunities available
yeah.
to work in November and May.
Now, I did find out that you can't be a poll worker if you're on the ballot,
That's correct.
but if you're not on that,
Well, I'm gonna stay out of this one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Your
even though
name
I'm
still
not,
appears on that
it'll
ballot.
still appear on the ballot, even though I don't have an opponent.
I think I'm gonna put money that you're gonna win, but.
don't do that in this country.
I know
Okay.
somebody else that will too win.
Okay,
And two
You run
others.
out of posts or scared, so. I
Two
think
others back there with those guys.
okay. Any,
Shot at it.
you got the motions, any more questions? All in favor of ordering the equipment or materials, the stuff, say aye.
Aye.
10 weeks from today, and 4 weeks from pre-voting, early voting.
Okay, so, okay, approved gas line easement. We don't have that information yet.
It's all done, it just needs to be put in words from a lawyer.
He sent the draft in the map, but we
Yes.
had to update the map for the gas line easement.
Okay.
So Travis just has to put
So
that
let's
updated route
table.
in words, and you guys should, I
So
think
we'll-
Dave, you spoke with him yesterday, right?
Yes, and we all did.
So you guys should get a final on that really soon.
Okay,
And it might show up today, but it's just too late after the meeting, so why don't we table this, because I think we will add it for next meeting.
okay. Got some excitement going on. We've got two industries strongly looking at building along Iron Mountain and Bismarck. And this gas line will provide what they need to do that. Now we hear there's a third industry looking at going in there. I was contacted yesterday that the state of Missouri is really short of 1,000-acre and 700-acre plots for industrial development. We have two, places that are under one ownership. So there's some excitement going on. So we'll see what happens there. So just, these things are important. Now, this gas line easement, the gas line construction was in half paid for by the state of Missouri. Dale, Mike, and Elaine got us $7 million out of the state budget to build that, which is about half the cost. And this will be a major additional gas line. Some of it's additional, some of it's new, from Deloge to the county line at Middlebrook. So it's an important thing. So it's going.
There's an existing 3-inch gas line from Deloge to Bismarck,
Right.
which this new 6-inch main would parallel that, remove the
Right.
3-inch line. And then the new route would take it down Rock and get into Red Rock.
Okay. Well, we don't have the details yet to pass it.
Correct.
So let's call this a heads up, but it's an important thing for us. Okay, so moving along. got Labor Day coming up. It'll be closed on September 2nd. And,
Harold?
yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, back up.
Yeah, want to go ahead and accept the Fiddler bid?
Yes, if you're ready, come on up.
What's that?
Come on up.
Oh, okay.
You know, you gotta do it officially. This happens to be
Saying
Mr.
yes.
Jay Graff, our recorder.
Recorder of Deeds, Jay Graff, we're like to accept the, a bid for the Fiddler bid for the 38 books to finish up our digital project for the marriage books. And it's for $18,155.66. And they will, they work in tandem with another company that actually comes to our location and does it on site. So we're looking at US Imaging coming in. Usually it's around Thanksgiving time, and they'll come in and set up shop with their equipment and get that done.
Need some more action going on.
I hear you, Lord.
So, yeah, we'd like to accept the bid, and that's,
Okay,
Motion.
dollar amount? Yeah.
I got it.
Okay,
and I need you to sign it afterwards.
Okay.
Get it to the,
and this takes all of your records from paper to digital.
that would be the marriage books, which is, generally about half of them are in index cards, the other halves are in binder books that they have to take out. So it's a little, saves a little bit of money, being in the index cards where they can just slip them in. The other ones, we have to take them out of the books and
Okay,
put them back in the books, so that's.
but you retain those old records.
Those old records, right, are they're down there with all the deeds, and we also have the DD 214s down there, the other vital records, so we'll be working on the DD 214s
So you
probably.
basically have double recording of them.
Well, it goes into triple, actually.
Okay.
Back up to back up to
Back up,
yeah.
back up, back up, okay. I'm glad you're doing that. Okay, motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the bid for the recorder for the scanning project from Fiddler for $18,155.66.
Second,
I'll second.
question?
That's all state grant money, no match, so it's.
Okay, thank you. Okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you. Now, next regular meeting will be on Tuesday, but your agenda items must be in on Friday, because we will be closed on Monday. So, there you go. Anybody reading the screen?
We don't have any
Oh,
discussion?
no discussion, no public hearing, no.
All right. Any, I
Oh,
missed that screen.
I'll do a departmental report.
It's underneath.
Okay.
Last week, MoDOT shut down State Route 221, just southwest of Doe Run. I'm sure you guys have had several calls about the traffic on Buck Mountain. I know Clay and I have had numerous calls about the heavy trucks, the traffic speeding. We've been out there several times and observed the traffic flows, just to try to see if we can remedy any of the problem. We cannot. We would have to have possibly some help from Sheriff Dan if he could come out and help us regulate some of the speed.
You mean have him
possibly.
lay on the road or what?
What's that?
Have him lay on the road or what?
I don't know if you want to do that or not.
Speed bumps, yeah.
Yeah, speed bumps. I know Clay was out there and you said about an hour and observed 100 cars come through. I was out there last week in a 30-minute period in the peak time in the afternoon, had over 100 cars come through. And this is a road that Linda doesn't see 100 cars a day, does it? Yeah.
And realize this is not a designated detour route.
No.
It's just one that people are taking upon themselves to
And how long are we
utilize.
talking, 2 months?
2 months.
In October.
MoDOT cannot detour on a county road or a city street. They have to detour on state highways. And they have done so. I'm not gonna say that the signage is the best for those detours, but there is some in place.
So like
But
a
we are
tractor
getting-
trailer?
we're
that
getting
tries to
tractor
go through there,
trailers.
Should like a.
And their
sheriff's department
detour
pull them over and
is
say,
23 miles.
Give them a warning and that catches on, you think? I don't know how it works, but they should be able to have some.
We do have a
say-so.
box culvert there that probably should not have heavy trucks going across it, especially 80,000 pounds. No, we did have our sign guys go out a week before this road was shut down update all of our speed limit signs, curve signs, any regulatory signs, marking, box culverts, hazards in the roadway.
Because we did anticipate this would happen,
So,
and it is.
So what's the deputy's authority? Speed and weight?
And the deputies can enforce any state or federal laws out there, so that's not a problem. Or that goes any speed limits that the county would put on that road.
This is probably gonna be a problem for a couple of months.
It is.
Oh,
It
I
is.
mean.
And that's what we're telling people.
Yeah, it's probably not gonna go away,
No.
something we're gonna have to live with, and we're probably gonna get the road tore up.
well, this road was
No way
overlaid
around it.
6 or 7 years ago. It does have a center stripe.
Yeah,
But the average width of the road is about 19 and a half feet.
yeah,
So it's not your state highway.
no,
There's a lot of blind curves, blind hills. It's just not made for traffic to be doing 50, 60 miles an hour through it.
On the positive note, it's gonna be a major improvement on 221.
It is.
Absolutely.
There was just a serious wreck out there, last week?
Friday.
Was that a fatality or
Yeah, but it wasn't on 221. It was actually on one of our county roads.
incident?
No.
There have been several out there on
Oh,
that.
it's traffic, oh, okay.
hill because the road is banked incorrectly.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a good idea in the first place, and this improvement that they're making, I don't think MoDOT did a very good job of planning out what was going to happen to local traffic and what's going on there. That's,
Well, at least they waited till school started.
Yeah.
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 Well,
Well, Dan, I
That's
think
foresight.
there for years, that was probably the number one wreck place in the county.
Yes.
Yeah,
Especially in the wintertime.
yeah, and when it's raining, it's just, they are fixing the issue.
Big vehicles, trucks. Trucks that haul timber and lumber.
Yeah.
And, I know there was a beer truck, one time there was a Pepsi truck turned over there, just had been over the years.
Non-stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That house at the bottom of the hill at Henson Road probably had a lot of visitors at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, yes, yes, they do.
Jeez.
Okay,
John, real quick, can I ask a question about Cedar Run Bridge? I know all the weight on the guardrail, I keep.
So I got an email back from the company this morning. The guy that was building the guardrails, wife's pregnant. She's having some complications.
Oh, no.
So I know that's a little too
I got
personal,
you.
but that's the email that I
Yeah,
got.
I understand.
So soon as one of their other employees gets done with the project he's on,
Unforeseen things.
it's about 50% complete.
well, we hope that medical issue goes out well.
Right.
Hey, they can call me and I can tell them.
As soon as we get the guardrail, we'll put it on.
I got you.
All right, any other departmental reports? Yes, Lee?
The budgets for county offices are due on a Monday, and I'm sure office holders will be here Labor Day to complete those. But we'll go ahead and extend that till Tuesday.
Louis, will you be here for us to turn it into on Monday?
Absolutely.
We can hand deliver it to you.
You're gonna be here to turn it into.
Yeah, because I know you won't be. Because you already told me yours was gonna be late.
No, well, we will have it this week. I thought that, well, the email we got was last
You
Sunday.
didn't even know what day it was due.
Oh,
Sorry, I've
no.
been too busy working
Well,
what day it was.
Louis, I will be in after the parade. There is a parade on Labor Day, and I always
Why?
go through that. Just because I need to be in that parade, my constituents.
No,
are
why would you be here?
Worried
is what
about-
I'm asking.
I'm gonna turn it in. I need to turn in my budget.
Angie? Come on up.
Angie's excited about her budget too, being there. Look at her, she's
Mine's in, mine's.
She was one of the early ones.
She did, I know.
All right, yesterday we had our 2024 tax sale. We were able to offer the least amount of properties that I can find any record of. So just to look back in 2020, we had 485 properties that were needing to be offered. We had 257 yesterday. The girls are working very, very hard, trying to locate people and get the word out that, you know, we're gonna sell your property, you have to offer it if you don't pay it, and people have been really coming in. We had 38 people come in within 4 days, in 4 days' time, just last week.
Prior to the sale.
Yes.
And what's that do, that register to bid on? or
Those were the
just
ones that actually came in and
Pay
paid.
off their taxes.
Hey,
Theirs
oh,
out.
oh, wow.
And we
nice.
do require,
Great.
you know, we give a grace period if you're wanting to pay the third or older year, every year, by May 31st, to keep it just out of the tax sale, and then they still have, 2 years due at that time. We kind of switched that up a little bit. People were trying to push the ticket on that, and so then we had them pay everything in full. So that means there's gonna be a lot less, hopefully next year even, and people will start getting more caught up. So we offered 257 yesterday. We sold 125 properties. Out of the first year, we offered 175, 100 of those were sold. Second year, offered 45, 14 were sold. Third year, 37 were offered, 11 sold. And 26 will be going to Barb Shelton, the county trustee, to try to get back on the books. Over surplus was 171,016.35, and that came up one of the last meetings I was at. That will get. I'll be turning that over to Parks' office, and then people sometimes will request that from him, and then he handles that. Whatever remains for 3 years, is it? Then that goes to the schools. So
Never
that
to the
was-
county.
Never to the county. No.
Okay.
And the highest bidder was 115,000. Yeah, we had 106 pre-register, but only 64 actually bid yesterday. But it was a really good tax sale, and I appreciate Corey and Rhonda and David and Kevin's help tremendously helped me. I'm not sure.
It was fun to watch.
Okay. Now, I know you're a little bit busy. Got tax bills going out in another few weeks. I can tell you that she's planning a budget program starting probably next year, which means that you will be allowed to come in at any time you wish during the year and prepay your taxes for that year. Part or full. You can set up a monthly budget that, instead of paying that big bill at the end of the year,
It's gonna be based on 11 months.
Yeah.
So that last and final, if there is one in December, it'll be, a lot less, of course. It's gonna be based on the prior year since we don't have the New Year's, but starting in January, actually, it's gonna be like installment payments, and that goes to like an escrow, that doesn't, until they're paid in full. So people will, get the word out, but that's something we wanna kind of start slow and build momentum so we can make sure we can handle it with, we also have the SB 190 coming. So we just, we wanna put that out there so people can know what to budget every month and make a payment towards their taxes.
Yeah.
And hopefully that'll help people out.
Now, I don't think, let's say that you make these payments, and at the end of the year, we owe you $23, whatever. We will probably not write you a check, we'll give you credit for the next year. Will you see it?
They can do that, but then, is what I was told, it's got to work with my software company, but we'll send them a bill for the remaining balance.
Okay, if there's a balance due.
If there's a balance,
And
yes.
there's no penalty until that balance is not paid until
Correct.
January 1.
Correct.
So,
Yes.
okay. But if you choose to do this, it might be a very good thing for your budget. Excuse me. But what I look at is that you saw on the tax levy how small a percentage the county gets of that money. A major part of that goes to the schools. And we will be retaining that school money in escrow at interest until January 1 or later. So that's going to be a bonus there. So we're looking forward to that. One thing, and I think only the one thing that the county needs to do to prepare for this is to change the current rule that you can only pay full amount on your taxes. We need to allow for partial payment of your taxes. I don't see that as a big step at all.
No,
But I think that's the only rule change we need to make.
that's the only one.
But you've got some software issues there.
Yeah, I'm gonna just get with them and, after we get everything tax sale set,
Okay.
and then we'll be working on that.
Now, in Angie's spare time, she's working on software for the Senate Bill 190. And that's a big thing. So, she's been busy, but I'm doing your departmental report for you.
Well, and one of the good things about the SB 190, with the changes, our software that we went to with DevNet, they will not change. Anytime there's a law changed or, passed legislative, we will never, ever have to pay that. If we had stayed with our former one, I think he's charging his clients $30,000 for
Yeah.
the new program and everything. So, that's a huge deal there. And they're working on, the program, updating it. This Senate Bill 756 happened, so they started working on those changes as well. And so anytime there's changes, they will have it implemented into the program.
756 was a partial clarification of Senate Bill 190. Still some questions. A lot of software issues on implementing these. A lot of things. You have to go into credits. You have to go into continued property assessments, even though they won't apply to that person, because you do need to maintain those current records on that. So there's all kinds of issues on
I
that.
think I was watching on the news that the city of St. Charles were having big time problems because they had what you're talking about, the software, but they had to pay for it. And the people were having to wait hours. Yeah, and so we're not gonna have that problem.
Not on the part of the software.
Right.
Yeah, the application process is gonna be, that's been a challenge, it seems, for everybody, because it takes time to go through all of those. You have to verify all the, that they have all the proper information that you've asked for. St. Charles said they had, our last meeting, 7,000 duplicate applications that they had to go through. Yeah. And so people are submitting one way, and then they're not hearing right away, so then they think, well, they didn't get it, so they're submitting it again.
Make sure they got it.
And so, yeah, there's the good thing about watching these other counties that's already started with this, we can learn from them and what.
We can
to
solve
do.
our,
Yeah.
the issues before we enact that.
Well, I was with the county auditors last week, and St. Charles County had a problem because they had 30,000 applications in 10 days.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I
It
mean,
was overwhelming.
we don't have that many.
And Louis, go ahead.
The estimated number of households, Eric, that probably qualify, we don't know, but it's maybe 16%, maybe. So we won't have the influx that.
According to census, it was about that number. When I looked up for like 65 and older, so we're going back to 62.
Right.
And so I don't think it'd be a large, St. Charles has a lot of retirees. So,
But you also have homes that are averaging over $400,000 a year
yes.
too.
Louis brought me a newspaper from Washington County. It had a very good article in it.
Kim's had her hand held up, but I
I'm
don't think,
sorry, say,
I don't
Gary,
think you
the
can see.
St. Charles County Recorder, they had a huge influx in their office when this came in, and she said it was an absolute nightmare, and
Yeah.
people trying to get their deed, 'cause-
Yes.
and then expecting the recorder's office to know what they needed, where in reality, if you want to apply, you need to tell us what you need, it's not on us. And,
Right.
she said it's just been an absolute nightmare.
What county was that?
St. Charles County Recorder.
The Washington County did a study on this, and they've had savings of $4.75 on their taxes. So people get a little bit overblown on their hopes on this, but, every dollar helps on some people.
Unfortunately, it doesn't sound like it's gonna be as much that people expect it to be.
Yeah.
And then some people there's gonna be a lot of, we have to clarify a lot of things. I think at the meetings, went to St. Charles Collector, she said that she received a bill back last year, and somebody said, I qualified, please, shred.
Yeah, they think that
The whole bill's shredded.
they think the whole tax
They
thing
just
is.
don't understand.
Well,
So
and
we have
then
to
if somebody's deceased, and then there's even more paperwork that would have to be filed before they can even apply.
Yes.
It's the affidavit of death, and see who owns the property now, and any heirs, and yeah, it could be a lengthy process.
And you have to have a reassessment if you don't get reassessed, you don't save anything. And that's not affected for a house sale or an improvement, that's not affected by that. So your current house has to be reassessed upwards, which, for example, in this county, the vast majority hadn't done that in a decade. So you're not saving anything if it doesn't get reassessed.
Well, it's all smoke and mirrors at this point until the commission decides on what the parameters are going to be.
That's right. And I'm gonna blame Angie a little bit because of software issues, and she's not ready for it yet, so.
And
It's your
the
fault.
majority of the counties are not just yet, they're planning on next year at the earliest, but, some of them have. It's just a lot of prep.
Well, even preparation for the application form. Okay.
And Charles is even preparing for lawsuits,
They
multiple
are.
lawsuits. That's
Yeah,
what
and they
went-
have,
They went
uh,
ahead and implemented it and said, we know we are gonna be sued.
They've got lawyers on staff, so
St. Louis.
they don't mind to fight whatever they need to
I
fight.
believe St. Louis already has a lawsuit starting. They had started it, but there's an attorney, that, mentioned that they didn't implement it good enough.
Good
So,
enough. It won't be
we have
good
to-
enough. Trust me.
Okay.
We have to hope for the best.
Any other departmental reports? Thank you, Angie.
The anticipation of this probably be 2025, right?
That part.
That's probably,
Yeah.
probably.
You
I
mean
should be
beginning of
correct.
25 or
No,
during?
in that year
In
sometime.
25.
During 25. During 25, probably.
Yeah, DevNet's real close.
Okay, Carol?
I had a question about what this applies to. Is it only the county's taxes, or is it all political subdivisions?
I don't know if we have permission to change the schools levy. I don't know if we have the authority.
Technically, the law did not address that,
Uh-huh.
and they're assuming that since it wasn't addressed, then they do in fact give power to the commissioners to freeze those. That's current. It's gonna be litigated.
And then another litigation against us with whoever else decides to litigate.
And in this county, if we don't reassess the other portion of the Barton School District, there will be litigation there too.
Yes.
And remember, we're talking about freezing, not forgiving
Right.
the taxes.
No, but what it does, it's just, what does it do it to?
Yeah, good question. Angie?
I know that, the state, the blind pension fund, that has something to do with the Constitution, I believe. So that one should not be affected, but then going back and forth on that as well. But they're saying the constitutional thing is a different thing. There's a lot.
It is crazy. I'm starting to get, this is what it's all about.
Okay. Okay, any other departmental reports? Yes, Parks.
On Pitney Bowes. So Pitney Bowes, I've talked about this before, but the Treasurer's Office is moving away from Pitney Bowes. I'm not really sure how we inherited the duties of Pitney Bowes. In my office, before I took office, it doesn't really seem like a treasury. But anyways, we will, we are not using Pitney Bowes anymore. That machines we have will be obsolete next year. We're gonna move to Presort ourselves. I know we're one of the bigger mail service offices and that send out checks and everything. So we're gonna move to Presort. Anybody wants to stay on Pitney Bowes, they're welcome to. That's your office's duty. Each I've talked to you guys on this before. Each office holder is gonna be responsible for their own mail. If they wanna go Presort, I'm happy to set up a meeting with the representative whenever we go. If they wanna sit in and hear the options and stuff like that. But if an office continues to wanna use Pitney Bowes, it's gonna be on them. They're messing with the machines and everything else too. But the Treasurer's Office is moving to Presort. I know we have a couple other offices on the Presort. EMG is one of them. Eric as well. Seems to work pretty well with them. Why I say each office will be responsible for their own is because of the billings and everything else. I mean, each office will have a box, basically that's how they'll know what cost goes to each office. So yes, if that's something you guys, if an office holder wants to move their office to, let me know. I will get it set up in the meeting, but each office will be responsible for getting themselves set up on it.
Now, the way I view this, Presort is our carrier.
Yep.
And Pitney Bowes is our, I'll call it stamping
So
machine.
Presort's picking up our mail anyways, as it is. We use our Pitney Bowes machines to stamp it, to run it through to seal it. It tracks our stamps on, or, you know, our stamps and our mailings on there. Now what we'll do is we'll just put the envelopes, in, like for us, for my office with the checks. 50 checks to send out that day. We're just gonna drop them off in the envelopes into the box. Presort takes care of all that.
They will stamp the mail.
So we're paying that anyways, the Pitney Bowes now with postage. The difference is, they're already picking it up for us anyway, so really it's just the postage going to them.
Okay.
And that's what we'll do with all our mail.
But again, what we have to do, we got letters from them saying the machines will be completely obsolete that we have right now, will be obsolete by next year.
Okay.
I'm just trying to think ahead on this and
Okay, any other question, any other departmental reports?
Send out so much mail, we're gonna go that way too.
yeah.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Thank you, you've been patient.
Yes. What do you got? Do you like that?